This might shock some of you, but cartoons in the 80s and 90s really traumatized millennials. I'm thinking The Brave Little Toaster, All Dogs Go to Heaven. This second episode of Captain Planet was one that stuck out in my mind, and still does, aptly titled Reign of Terror. That's right, it is an acid rain episode. There are trees dying, buildings disintegrating. It is terrifying. The villain in this episode is Verminous Scum, and he's voiced by Jeff Goldblum, who was really ever present in the 90s. He's this rat mutant that became this way because of toxic chemicals, which sounds almost exactly like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So maybe related to Splinter somehow, but a bad guy. And he has a whole rat pack with him. And it's not really clear if they all were exposed to these chemicals or somehow he's reproducing, but they're all pretty male presenting. Anyway, back at Hope Island, the Planeteers are running obstacle courses. Guy and Kwame have some romantic tension, and of course Linka is an amazing gymnast, but Mati is struggling. He's complaining about being a little guy. He has trouble getting up a wall, and I can totally relate to that. In elementary school, we had obstacle course too, and I could not do it. At least I didn't have a mud pit to fall into. The laughter still stings. I mean, look at these a-holes. Poor guy. Mati gets super angry, runs away, and the other Planeteers debate, well, maybe we shouldn't have laughed so hard, and we probably hurt his feelings. Fortunately, there's a planetary emergency because of Verminous Scum, and Gaia calls all the Planeteers to meet with her to talk about their strategy. Gaia explains the situation, and like half of the American population currently, Wheeler asks, what's so bad about burning a little coal? Gaia's response, many things. No clue why she puts up with him. And here's where things get terrifying. She kind of explains all of Verminous's plan and goes in graphic detail about acid rain. She shows images, of course, of buildings burning, forests dying, and then people running through the streets screaming, which to any 7-year-old would just invoke imagery of flesh burning off of humans, right? All the horrors that one would assume would happen to a human being doused in acid. The Planeteers land at this factory to stop this. They're met by, these rats firing toxins. There's really just a whole lot of them. Long story short, because it's really not that exciting, they devise a plan, but end up all getting trapped inside the factory, surrounded by chemicals that the factory owners left behind, which they note was very irresponsible of. And of course, Wheeler wants to set fire to the place, and Linka has to remind him, no, they'll explode like a bomb. He really is a one-minded individual when it comes to using his powers. What I failed to mention is Mati stayed behind because he was still upset and wanted to give up being a Planeteer because he felt like he was weak. So the 4 other Planeteers are all trapped inside this factory. None of their powers will work because Linka doesn't want the chemicals to go in the air, Guy doesn't want the chemicals to go in the water, and Kwame doesn't want the chemicals to go in the earth, so they're kind of just screwed at this point. At the same time, the chemicals are leaking and the room's being filled up with deadly gas. Now, Mati is watching this all from the jet. How? I don't know. I don't know what kind of technology he's using, but it's on a TV screen, so maybe a drone? It's not clear. His power ring does go off, and it senses fear and panic, and he realizes that he needs to help his fellow Planeteers. Apparently, his heart powers can tell him where they are trapped, even though he was just watching them on TV. And he can also telepathically talk to them through his ring. He goes to save them. He gets nervous. Gaia reminds him that the power is yours. She uses those words. And he ends up having to scale a wall just like he couldn't do at the beginning. So once Mati's on the roof, he climbs in through a skylight. They call Captain Planet because while all this was happening, the acid rain cloud was headed towards the city. Captain Planet makes like the wind and blows. He becomes a tornado and pushes the cloud away from the city. Then he performs a science experiment. He goes underground and gets this huge boulder of sodium bicarbonate, goes above the cloud, smashes it, and it goes onto the cloud and neutralizes the acid, which forms this rainbow, queer representation. That's really it. Jeff Goldblum and his Rat Pack dig back underground and scurry away to come out another day. Again, still their mission not quite sure what they were trying to do. And of course, just like any other 90s cartoon, we get some resolution. Mati tackles that obstacle course and climbs to the top. Everyone's super proud, and Gaia reminds us all that the feeling that one person can't make a difference is the greatest obstacle of them all, which is a pretty powerful message. And the PSA part of this episode is all about contacting politicians to regulate the factories that are causing acid rain. And with a little bit of political intrigue, Linka, the Soviet, reminds us all to write our congresspeople. So that was really it. Fortunately, through regulation, acid rain kind of is a problem of the past. It's a win. We should celebrate that. It's really rare in the environmental movement. Plot twist, though. Under our current political administration, there might be deregulation that could bring back acid rain. So yippee on that, right?
So then, the power is yours.